Hi everyone, my name is Hijrah Mustapa and my metric number is BT23303. For part 1 of our analysis, I will be presenting the relative frequency and cumulative relative frequency comparisons between customer satisfaction and customer retention using data collected from 30 local businesses in March 2025. Okay, first, we started by grouping the data into class intervals such as 60 to 64%, 65 to 69%, and so on, and then calculated the relative frequency for both satisfaction and retention. This tells us the proportion of businesses that fall into each score range. From the table, we can already observe some key patterns. The satisfaction score is most concentrated in the 85 to 89% range, accounting for 30% of businesses. In contrast, customer retention scores peak earlier in the 70 to 74% range at 26.67%. This means that although many businesses are scoring high in satisfaction, the retention scores are more evenly spread out and often lower. Next, to visualize this comparison, we use a bar chart. Here, the blue bars represent satisfaction, while the green bars represent retention. The chart clearly shows that satisfaction scores are skewed towards the higher end, while retention scores are more distributed, with noticeable values even in the lower intervals like 60 to 64% and 65 to 69%. This suggests that even if customers are satisfied, they may not necessarily remain loyal, indicating other factors such as pricing, competitors, or convenience might be affecting retention. These visuals makes it easier to compare patterns and pinpoint where satisfaction and retention diverge. Next, we calculated the cumulative relative frequencies, which help us understand how the percentage accumulate across the score ranges. For instance, by the 75 to 79 interval, 70% of businesses have a retention score below that range, while only 23.33% have satisfaction scores that low. This shows that most companies perform well in satisfaction but not necessarily in keeping their customers over time. The difference in the build-up across the classes reveals an early lead for retention, but satisfaction catches up and exceeds it later on. Next, this trend becomes more visible in the cumulative line graph. This green line for retention rises gradually and steadily, while the blue line for satisfaction starts off slowly, increases sharply in the higher intervals. By the time we reach the 85 to 89% range, satisfaction has reached 76.67% cumulatively, while retention is slightly lower at 96.67% by the end of the 85 to 89% range and flattens out. This suggests that while most businesses manage to keep customers somewhat satisfied, fewer manage to retain them in long term.
Hello, my name is Vanessa Tan Li Shi and my metrics number is BB233110594, and today I will be presenting my part, which is part 2 for this presentation. So in this section, we will analyze the central tendency of the data using 3 common statistical tools, which is the mean, the median, and also the mode. So first we start with the mean. The mean is also known as average value. So for customer satisfaction, we added all the values from the 30 companies and the total is 2,527. Then divide that number by 30. So the mean customer satisfaction score is 2,527. Divided by 30 equals 84.23%. Next is customer retention. The total value is 2,222 divided by 30, so we get 74.07%. So this shows us that on average customer satisfaction is about 10% higher than customer retention. So now we move on to median. The median is the middle value in an ordered dataset. Since we have 30 companies, we take the 15 and 16 values and find the average. So for satisfaction, both values are 85. So the median is 85 plus 85 divided by 2 equals 85%. For retention, both values are 74. So 74 plus 74 divided by 2 equals 74%. Now the mode. The mode is the most frequently occurring value. For customer satisfaction, the mode is 85, which appears 3 times. For customer retention, the mode is 68, also appearing 3 times. So to summarize, all 3 measures, mean, median, and mode, show that customer satisfaction scores are higher than customer retention rates. This suggests that while customers may feel satisfied, they don't always come back. To improve retention, business might need to focus on loyalty strategies, follow-up service, or customer engagement after purchase. That's all from me. Thank you.
Matrix number BB233060994. Next, we will calculate the percentile and construct box plot of each of the 2 key metrics. Okay, the first thing we have to do to calculate the percentile is we need to arrange the data in ascending order from the smallest to largest, and then to locate the position of the percentile, use formula of n plus 1, where n is the total number of data, which is 30, and then times with p per 100, where p is the q1, q2, and q3. Okay, to look for q1 or the 25th percentile, using the formula just now, we will get the answer of 7.75, which is a non-integer. Thus, 25th percentile is located 75% distance between the 7th and 8th observation. In our case, the 7th value is 79 and 8th value is 80. And then we take the 7th value, which is 79, and add 0.75 times the difference between the 8th and 7th values, which is 80 minus 79. And that will give us 79 plus 0.75 times 1, and the final result is 79.75. Same goes to Q2 and Q3. We'll use the same method, same steps, and then we'll get the answer of Q2 or 50th percentile equal to 85, and then Q3 equal to 89.25. Using the same formula, we will calculate the percentile of customer retention rate, and then we'll get the answer of Q1 equal to 68, and then Q2 equal to 74, and the last one, Q3 or the 75th percentile equal to 80. Using the same formula, we will calculate the percentile. Next, to construct the box plot, we need the IQR or interquartile and outlier calculation. To check for outliers, we use the IQR method, where IQR equal to Q3 minus Q1. For satisfaction, Q1 was 79.75 and Q3 was 89.25. So IQR equal to 9.5. We calculated the outlier range using the formula of Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR and Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR, which gave us a range of 65.5 to 103.5, which no outliers found. For retention, Q1 was 68 and Q3 was 80. So IQR equal to 12, and the range was 50 to 98. Again, no outliers. This means both data sets are clean and free from extreme values. Compares customer satisfaction and retention rate, where the blue box shows satisfaction with a median of 85 and consistent score from 79.75 to 89.25, and the pink box shows retention rate with a low median of 74 and mild variation ranging from 68 to 80. Where there are no outliers, meaning that the data is clean. In short, satisfaction is strong, but retention is less consistent, showing that happy customers don't always stay.
Hello, my name is Brooklynne Illiona and my matrix number is BB233030513. Next, I'll explain part 4, which to calculate and compare measure of dispersion between 2 key metrics. First, I'll find range. Range formula is maximum value minus with minimum value. So for CSS, the range is 23% and CRR, the range is 28%. So we can conclude that CRR has a wider range, meaning more variation in how well the business retain customers. Okay, next I will calculate the MAD, which is mean absolute deviation. But before that, we need to find the sample mean. So for the CSS sample mean is we need to add all the values divided by the numbers of value and get 84.23. Then we can calculate the MAD, which we add up all the value minus with the sample mean we got and divided with numbers of value, and then we get 4.88. So we apply the same formula for the CRR, which we first find the sample mean, which is 74.07, and then we calculate the math and got 5.74. So we can conclude that the CRR have higher variance from their mean than satisfaction score based on a higher math. This indicate that retention rate are less consistent. Okay, next I will calculate the variance and the standard deviation. So to follow the variance and standard deviation formula, first we need to find the squared deviation from the sample mean, which we got for CSS is 1043.37. So we divided it with degree of freedoms, which is 30 minus 1, to get the value of variance is 35.98%. So for the standard deviation is 6%, and for the CRR we apply the same formula, so we get the variance is 49.17%, meanwhile for the standard deviation is 7.01%. So from the previous calculation for variance and standard deviation, we can see that CRR has a higher variance and standard deviation than CSS. So it means that CRR vary more widely across the sample than CSS. The CSS are more consistent, while CRR behavior is more spread out or inconsistent among customers. Okay, last but not least, for part 4, I'll calculate the CV, which is coefficient of variation. So the formula given is standard deviation divided by sample mean and multiply with 100%. So for the CSS, the CV is 7.12%. Meanwhile, for the CRR, the CV is 9.46%. So this can be concluded CRR is more dispersed or inconsistent relative to its average value than CSS.
Hello everyone, my name is Kian Li. My matrix number is BT2330305. So I'll be presenting part 5, which is a measure of association between two key metrics, customer satisfaction score and customer retention rate. To explore a relationship between these two variables, we calculate two things: covariance and the correlation coefficient. Let's begin with the mean values. The mean of the customer satisfaction score is calculated by dividing the total of all satisfaction values, which is 2,527 by 30. This gives us a mean of 84.23%. For customer retention, we divided 2,222 by 30, and we get 74.07%. Next is covariance. We use this formula where sigma xy equals to the sum of open bracket x minus x bar by y minus y bar over n minus 1. We substitute values, which is 1154.5 divided by 30 minus 1, which gives us a covariance of 39.81. This tells us that satisfaction and retention tend to increase together. For the correlation coefficient, denoted as R, we apply this formula: R equals SXY divided by SX times SY. So we take the covariance value, 39.81 divided by 42.06. The final result is 0.95, which shows a very strong positive linear relationship. To conclude, when customer satisfaction goes up, customer retention also tends to go up. This shows a clear connection and highlight how important it is for the businesses to invest in good customer experiences to retain loyal customers over time. That's all from our group. Thank you.